Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another week of Fellow Drops Brew Guide videos. My name's Haley and I'm here to tell you just how excited we are to have collaborated with Elixr Coffee this week on a coffee that they bought especially for us. It's super delicious. We couldn't be more stoked. And instead of me walking you through brewing it, we're gonna turn it over to Evan and Rodrigo from Elixr to let you know how best to brew this coffee on a couple different brew methods. Super stoked to have them, and I'll turn it over to them now. See you soon.
Hello, it's Evan from Elixr Coffee, and today is an extremely special day for us because we finally get to announce the release of this coffee that we've sourced in collaboration with the good folks at Fellow, the Finca El Obraje Gesha from Pablo Andres Guerrero in Pasto, Colombia. It's been a long time coming. There was a lot of logistical hurdles getting this, including a very welcome surprise of Pablo actually winning Colombia's first place in the Cup of Excellence competition in this whole process. We airmailed the coffee here and it is finally here and tasting phenomenal. So we're gonna unpack this coffee with you. We're gonna teach you how we brew it at Elixr. We actually know this coffee very well because our barista competitor, Rodrigo, used it to compete with in the most recent United States barista competition. So we're going to share with you his take on the coffee and his brew recipes. So stay tuned, and without further ado, let's dive right in. All right, so we're going to walk you through how we brew at Chemex at Elixr, starting with 22 grams of coffee for 345 grams of water. So of course you want to start with a pre-wet filter, and we're going to pour all the way until about 100 grams of water, and we're going to let that sit for about 30 seconds, getting some of those gases who are still trapped in there released and bubbling out. So at 30 seconds, we're going to do our second pour, and we're going to pour all the way until 250 grams of water, and we're very careful not to over agitate here. And the reason why we do that, and it's very specific to the way we brew our Chemex, has to do with the way that we treat our water. So only in the center, we're keeping a layer of grounds always on top and always around the side and not over agitating. And then we're gonna do our final pour. So only 3 pours here. Our final pour at 1 minute, 10 seconds, and still right in the center here, we're gonna pour very slowly until we get to our final weight of 345 grams. I'm gonna share with you why we're so gentle here, and it's because it's my personal belief at Elixr that you're gonna get the most nuance and the most aromatics out of coffee when you start with a very low TDS. Now, I should also say it's somewhat controversial and somewhat not quite yet accepted in the coffee community, but I really implore you guys to experiment with this and see if you can kind of create some similar results at your house. So at Elixr, we actually start with water that has been treated through reverse osmosis and goes all the way down to a very low TDS. We use about 20 parts per million. Now, compare that with the standard school of thought, where most people brew between 100 and 200 parts per million. It's much lower, and what happens is you kind of allow that really pure water to really absorb a lot more aromatics and really nuance. Now, I believe that you're gonna have maybe a bit sweeter of a coffee if you treat the water with some added minerals, say a third wave water or global customized water. And this is my own personal belief. You're never gonna have more nuance and more aromatics than if you start your brew with a very low TDS. And in doing so, when we brew the Chemex, we really do very, very little agitation. We want to keep a layer of grounds on top, a layer of grounds on the side, and it's going to look just like this when it finishes pouring in about 3 minutes. And in the cup, you're going to notice right away at first sip a red raspberry. It's not tart, it's that raspberry pinkberry flavor. It's like biting into a ripe yellow peach. The coffee finishes as a demerara sugar. It's super sweet with just a hint of caramel, just kind of walking that line between raw sugar and caramelized sugar. And now let's go to Rodrigo Vargas, our barista competitor, who uses coffee in the most recent United States Barista competition.
And the fact that this coffee tasted like so unique, and it was like super clean, and it reminded me a lot of Fruity Loops, which is what made me choose this coffee to try to find the best expression of it for competition. What made me like choose the natural Gesha, it was just over the wash. It was just like the quality of the flavors and how like it was just like a different experience completely. While the wash Gesha is gonna be like super clean and it's gonna have a lot of like very easy to discern flavors, the natural Gesha is gonna have more complexity to it, and it's gonna have more of those citrusy notes to it that I really enjoyed, with a very, very nice effervescent acidity that honestly, mouthfeel wise, I go crazy for. The main selling factor for Pablo's Natural is just how nuanced yet easy to taste it is. Like, it's not like a lot of anaerobics that I've had in the past, or like other Geshas that I had from other farms in Colombia, that they are like very nuanced, and sometimes you're like pondering a lot, like on the fact of what are you tasting. And some of these like anaerobic coffees tend to taste a little bit too funky for my taste. And it's something that I think that it translates more towards, it's more universal for like everyone. It's a coffee that is going to be more palatable for even like your person who's just starting to drink specialty coffee, towards the most like coffee snob person and like knowledgeable person that you may know. Like, both sides of the spectrum are gonna be pleased with this coffee in specific. So when it comes to Pablo's coffee, due to the fact that this coffee, it's amazing, and it's gonna have like a bunch of characteristics to it that you can basically interpret however you like. You can basically get away with almost anything with it. You can like pull fast shots, you can pull long shots, you can basically do whatever, and this coffee is going to pull through in ways that most coffees will not. The profile that I ended up choosing for this coffee is the one that I think it's going to be the most balanced, since it's going to give you a lot of the citrus flavors that this coffee has on its own, paired with that nice effervescent acidity, and it's going to yet still be balanced, so the acidity is not going to overpower anything. So I ended up choosing the recipe that is going to be 20 grams in to 40 grams out in 26 seconds. This is going to give you a nice body that is going to coat your mouth. It's going to give you that nice effervescent acidity. It's going to give you those really nice citrus flavors that is going to be like reminiscent of like red grapefruit and orange spritzer. And it's going to end in your mouth with a chocolate sweetness and a caramelly aftertaste. So if I will like something that is going to give you more dynamics, I will actually, instead of doing like a more standard shot, I will go for a faster extraction. So that'll be 19.5 grams in to 42 out in 17 seconds. This recipe specifically is going to taste straight up like grapefruit juice. And it's going to end with those like cocoa like sweetness, and it's going to linger a little bit like brown sugar.
That was Evan and Rodrigo from Elixr Coffee. I want to thank them both for spending the time to record a video and tell us how to brew this special coffee. Thank you again for spending the time to watch today's video. If you have any questions regarding this coffee, fellow drops, or fellow products, please let us know and we'll get back to you. Thank you again for spending the time to watch today's video. We'll see you around.